friends, thanks for joining me today. It's going to be a jam-packed video full of new makeup. We're talking a lot of like new at Sephora type stuff. So I've got a new palette from Viseart that I'm really excited to share with you guys here. I've been testing out a new Urban Decay foundation for a few days and I want to continue that today. Cute new little cheek product. It's just as cute as can be. So let's go ahead and jump in and get it going. I've already got my skin moisturized and I'm going to prime with something that my pal David said I might be interested in. So I went ahead and I purchased it through him. And if you're interested in doing the same, I will have all of his info below. He is the resident makeup artist at Bergdorf Goodman in NYC for Estee Lauder. And this is the Futurist Aqua Brilliance Watery Glow Primer. So this is interesting, guys. It feels incredible on the skin. It is very, very thin, but it looks like a cream, okay? And then you're gonna put it on and be like, oh, where'd all that thickness go, you know? I'm not saying it completely melts, but just the appearance of a cream gets you thinking one way in your mind about how thick it's gonna be. And then you put it on and it's just thin, 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 yet moisturizing, yet smoothing. It's a really great feeling if you love to use a primer, but sometimes you get a little bit like, I don't want to have a ton of thick prep steps on my face just to get to the makeup. Because I've already got on a bunch of skincare, you know, and now it's primer time. But I've been using this almost every day since I got it. I really like it. Next up, we're going to go to the Stay Naked Hydromaniac Tinted Glow Hydrator. Medium coverage, it says. Up to 24-hour wear. I got it in the shade 30 Light. This is a pretty rich feeling product on the skin. I'm not sure how like super oily skin would feel about this because it does seem to carry a great deal of moisture, and I feel like in the times I've tried this, it's been kind of a fine line for me on amount. First time I definitely applied way too much. I may have just squeezed out a little too much there, and it looked like I'd say a large pearl-sized amount. You gotta watch it with this. I'm gonna try blending it in with my Real Techniques Blend and Blur, so I haven't used that one with it yet. But the coverage is quite nice, I think. It was a little better than I expected when something's called tinted. You know, I think that always sets your mind a little bit lower, does it not, in terms of coverage expectations? But just look, I do feel like medium coverage was an accurate description in comparison to an IT Cosmetics CC cream, which I do feel like, I think when I talked about this maybe in an anti-haul video, I was like, I feel like every brand wants to have their IT CC cream. And I think this is kind of Urban Decay's take on it, although it is pretty dewy, pretty hydrating, even more so than the IT Cosmetics, and I would say a little lighter coverage than IT Cosmetics, okay? So a little less matte and a little less coverage, but still pretty enjoyable coverage for me, I would say. And then look, as you just look at the surface of my skin as I turn it, can you tell that there's kind of a dewiness to the skin? And I tell you what, even after I have put this on and I've really thought I've set my skin like pretty wholeheartedly all over, I've taken a few pictures of my makeup and I'm still feeling like I'm seeing a dewiness. So that hydration I think really runs deep with this stuff, and I feel very glowy. Next, I've got a concealer here that I have used before, and then it came a little more recently in PR, and it's the Lancome Teint Idole Ultra Wear Camouflage, and I have this in the shade 90 Ivory Neutral, I think. It says Ultra Wear High Coverage Concealer. So I've had this in my collection before, and to me this is a really like nice coverage product, and it's very hydrating. It's kind of reminding me of, I don't know why everything's coming back to IT Cosmetics, but the texture on it, it's like rich. It's reminding me of a less sticky version of IT Cosmetics Bye Bye Under Eye. But I've been using this and really appreciating the coverage. Maybe it's because I'm in a bit more of a dry skin mode right now, that I feel like these products are agreeing with my skin maybe better than they might during other times of year, you know? Is there a skincare description that's like seasonal, normal to combo, winter, normal to dry? Then again, sometimes in the summer, I have periods where I get dried out from the chlorine in the pool. But you can see what this is doing. This shade is kind of brightening on me, but yet it does pack enough of a coverage punch that it's still covering stuff up. Yeah, we're really feeling like hydration central on the face right now with the combination of products. And I am feeling a real urge to set this a little bit because, you know, I don't love the feeling of a lot of tackiness on the skin. I don't like the thought that maybe that's going to transfer off more easily. But on this concealer, let me know if you've tried this, because this is not like a brand new thing. I think Lancome's just kind of trying to expose the beauty community to what they've got. But I think this is a really good like combo of a concealer that's nourishing but also has good coverage. Very similar. Here's what it's maybe even a little bit more similar to is the Tarte Maracuja Creaseless Concealer. Both that one and IT Cosmetics by Under Eye have a little stickiness to them that this one doesn't quite have, but it's close. I'm actually going to grab out my Ethereal Light from Hourglass. Right around the time of the Emily Awards, this was really like becoming a major thing for me, and then I sort of set it aside for that Fenty Lavender for a while, but I love this. I do. I think it's really a nice effect on setting the under eye, and so that's what I'm doing here. I'm kind of hitting the whole T-zone with it. And I feel like that concealer kind of lightened up the entire look of my skin tone a lot. But you guys know it's kind of a dance with makeup. We lighten and brighten, and then we come in with that contour and it'll all be fine. I think I'm going to set a little bit more with this L'Oreal Infallible, just because, again, I feel just an ongoing tackiness with that foundation. And I just want to give it its best shot to wear well today. I haven't done anything to my hair yet. Do you see how there's still like noticeable dewiness somehow in the skin? Even though now I've kind of affected the surface of the face. Somehow that dewy, that glow is still coming through. It's interesting. I'm already moving into this one, my Minxette from Viseart, and I wanted to pull up what they said about it on Sephora, because that's kind of what made me... I was thinking about not getting it, actually. I glanced at it and I thought, color scheme, I got this. But then I read the description and I was just really drawn in. A palette that includes 12 matte and shimmering shades, ideal for shading, highlighting, and defining eyes, brows, and the contours of the face. I don't think I've ever heard them actually promote a palette, an eye palette, that way. If they have, I've missed it. But this is the palette we're talking about. Now, who remembers Minx from their Theory palettes, the 6-color palettes? I think there might be like a few of those roaming around still available, maybe 1 or 2 on Sephora and over on Beautylish, but I don't think the Minx one is any longer available. But if you look at this half, that was pretty much Minx, except this shade was a little bit like lighter and rosier in that palette, and here they've gone deeper, which I don't mind. And then they give you all these other sort of coordinating shades. But that was a fabulous palette. The Minx palette was just a tremendous like brown kind of warmish neutral palette. But listen to what else they say. Minxette, the saucy little sister of Viseart's coveted Theory Minx palette, offers an extended range of essential shades. This curation of caramel colors contains the perfect hues for an effortless look. I will say these colors seem to look good on my skin. I do enjoy them. Embrace the resplendence of autumn, sassing your way through daytime deal making and sunset soirees. So when I got to that part about sassing my way through daytime deal making, I just thought, you know, I think I need this. Sassing my way through daytime deal making involves mainly a 4-year-old, a 1-year-old, and a 6-year-old. So when they mentioned using this all over the face, I went there the other day. I tried it and it really worked. This shade up here, I feel like it applies and it looks in person, maybe just a hint darker than it appears in the pan, but you just kind of pinch your brush a little bit and you can get into those smaller pans. But I feel like I can take that shade and work it in with this brush, and I do get a nice like little soft contour. And there's also a deeper shade if you wanted to bronze it up a little bit more in that way. And there's a really pretty like blush shade in here too. This color right here, I'll have to pop up the picture where I was wearing it, because I do have another kind of blush that I want to work with today. But just to show you, I can use that contour. I could highlight with this too. I'm still just working with that one neutral beige. Hello. At least I didn't jump out of my seat this time. So I did that, but just the beginning with the Minxette. Also, instead of having just a flat like exterior, see how it's got this cool little shiny leopard? Love. I need some coffee, gang. Oh, whew. I got one of these adorable little Rare Beauty cream blushes, or they call it melting blush. I mean, this packaging, this little nugget here, How does that not like steal your heart? Do I have any boyfriends or husbands listening? Like, what a sweet little thing you could get for Valentine's Day even. Like, there's this beautiful little rosy color. Open it up. Does it get more gorgeous? This looks like this perfectly shaped little butter pat of blush right there in the middle. I got the shade Nearly Nude, and as we're gonna see, it has plenty of color, but there's a little mirror on the inside. There is a magnetic closure. Perfection in packaging right there with that one. It may be worth it for you just for the packaging. But I'm gonna take a little brush with this. I used it before, just kind of using my fingers, and sometimes I do feel like fingers can work great with cream products. Sometimes I feel like they can work away some of your underneath coverage. So here I'm gonna try this, just dabbing this little Pro Mini Flawless airbrush in here. And then look at this, frankly, kind of rosy flush, gentle rosy flush. I really like it. Clearly the product has stolen my heart by way of its packaging, and the color looks nice on my skin. As far as the texture, how does it actually feel? It's got a real thinness, guys. Like, I remember showing you a product from Milani recently, one of their cream blushes, and I touched it and I said, gosh, it feels so thin to the touch. Well, this feels thin, but it does go kind of cream to powder, okay? So there is a little bit more of an ease, I think, maybe with this one, as it gets into the skin and just works in pretty effortlessly. The Milani one just kind of stayed in its creamy state, which is fine, but it might take you just a little longer to get something like that worked in. Whereas this one, I mean, I feel like the process is pretty effortless on my part. I really like this shade though. Sometimes I try a shade that I like from a brand and I'm like, oh, it's so good, I want to try more. Something about this shade I feel very satisfied with. Like, I don't know, it seems like plenty. It just seems right on my skin. So I like that, guys. I think it's extremely cute. The word precious comes to mind. I love that. Now we hopping back into the Mink set and we are going to highlight with this. My ideal highlight shade in here is going to be this one. If you're a little deeper skin tone, maybe you go into some of this peachiness right here, but this light sort of champagne-y shade. I'm using it really lightly. I'm getting some glow. Might be a little deeper than some highlight shades that I use, honestly. It does add some glow to the cheeks though. We're going to use a little setting mist. I've got my Tarte Rainforest of the Sea. This was in my Nothing from Sephora Over $15 video, so I thought let's just use that. Gotta say, even though this is a little bit hesitant to be sprayed perfectly like up in the manner that I sometimes like, the mist, even out of this mini sprayer, is so perfectly fine and kind of cloud-like. You know what I'm saying? It's just a really even, full, yet fine mist. So that's kind of a good mini spray. I'm also gonna whip out a quick brow with something you have seen me use recently, but this ABH, it's the Dip Brow Gel in medium brown, again with the minis. Not to be too repetitive from that video, but it is a newish high-end product for me. I don't know what's happening here, but this brow's looking way bigger and badder. Still cranking out my Milani eyeshadow primer. I was gonna say though, that brow gel really seems very effective at filling in and not really making you need anything else. And it seems to me a lot more actually forgiving than the Dip Brow Cream. That you gotta be really careful with. It's so creamy and just pigmented and rich. Today with this palette, I think I'm gonna try my technique that I sometimes use of going in with my deepest shade first and letting that kind of sheer out and then letting some more like kind of partner shades come in to help it out. So we're gonna go into this dark matte brown here. And I'm just gonna take a flat brush and begin patting that here on the outer corner. And also up into the crease. Man, does a little go a long way. I realize that does not look blended, but that's not the point right now. We're just putting it there. Sometimes it's just an easy way to get like the fullest intensity out of your dark colors and really let them shine because they're not having to overlap anything when they first go on. Okay, so there's that. Then I'm taking my E25, nothing on it, and I just start blending that into my crease. Sometimes you can do this, and if it works out well enough, you practically look like you've got a finished eye look without doing anything else. Not that that's where I'm going to end it today, but I'm just saying. Just really work out that edge. See how pretty? You get to really assess your dark shade, and you get to see how it looks as it shears out, if it changes, if it gets a little different vibe going. You get to kind of see the undertone of that shade more. And you just get to see how far it travels. You know, some of that depends on how much you got on there, but I do really like working with my shadow in this way. Then we can look toward some of these little bit lighter shades and say, where do we want to go from here? Maybe we want to experiment a little bit with this really pretty, I would call this like a rosy terracotta. It's a very interesting, very nice shade. And I'm going to work that just kind of above everything we just did. Again, with these shadows, we're talking just one little roll your brush into it, one little tap. Isn't that just scrumptious? Then I'm taking my E40 and we'll go into this nice little creamy shade. It's got maybe the slightest hint of peach in it, and I'll just use that as my highlight. Now I'm really happy with how everything's looking, just, you know, hazing out from the eye. But going inward, we want to think about what sort of color do we want. We can go more coppery, coppery right here, sort of a dirty copper, a rich bronze. There's this plummy shimmer, peach. I really like how no shade is getting in anybody else's way here. I'm going to take a little bit of this plum, which can act in your crease too, because the shimmer isn't like over the top, but I'm just going to pat a little bit of that right in here just to see how it pats on. It's just a real like deep and sultry kind of plum. You can see it maybe catching the light just a little bit, but it's kind of subtle in its purple vibe. And then maybe take a little bit of this light, oh, that's very peachy. Oh, peach and plum. Man, that really reminds me of Bare Minerals' The Happy Place quad. The OG peach and plum quad. That color combo just sings when I see it on the eyes. But that shade looks just very light in the pan, but it has a little more depth, as you can see. A little more real, true peachiness as you put it on. See that? I feel like bringing in a pencil brush with this dark shade and having a little bit of smudginess over here. And I'm kind of tempted to bring in maybe this shade right here, just for a little softening. I don't know. I'm also taking a smidge of that shade, the one just up from my darkest, and I'm kind of adding a little bit of that to my edge too, just to make sure everything is as smooth of a transition out from the darkness as possible. Oh gosh, I really love the way these shades are working together. Viseart does some gorgeous, gorgeous color combinations within their palettes. And these little 12 shade guys are just so, so nice. I'm gonna skip liner today because I'm trying a mascara for the first time here. This one from Bite. This is the Upswing Full Volume Mascara. Volumizing, lengthening, lifting, curl enhancing, smudge resistant, and intense color. So let's actually get back into our little mirror here. I love having a mirror down here. I've talked about that when I apply my mascara. So I can look down and it exposes your entire lash root to tip, so you can see what you're doing. And you're less likely to bop yourself on the lid or the brow bone. Just getting that curl engaged, taking it out of the tube. Oh, that lovely hourglass shape that every brand wants to do. It seems really light, like the feel of the tube, whole feel of the wand. It's got a lightness. Putting it on here, and I'm not hating it, although I'm kind of over these hourglass shaped bulbous on two ends here, and I feel like I'm fighting for my lashes to get to that center part, right? Where it's really, it seems to be holding even more product. But at the same time, I gotta try to keep from really working it in too hard because I will hit myself with the larger parts of that brush. I need more product. Oh, but she's building nice with this second coat, gang. Wow. Okay, I can deal with that. I gotta say, I was expecting a more natural, like, thing out of Bite with this mascara. Is this Bite's like first ever mascara? I mean, they've been such a lip brand. And what happened with Amuse Bouche lipsticks? You know, they're beautiful lipsticks. They really had one of the best cream lipstick formulas going, and then like whatever happened. I felt like they put out sort of a new take on them briefly in like a holiday set that I tried maybe last year, and then it never like came to fruition. Didn't we think we were getting exposed to the new formula or whatever it was going to be, and then it never like happened? Even one coat with this is kind of nice, honestly, but I wish we could kind of get away from some of these shaped brushes. And if you are going to do that hourglass, like this is borderline too deep, because I don't know if my lashes are really reaching that spot in the brush. It's the center of the brush, but it's still building, you know, it's still working. Oh, I did get myself on the lash line a little bit over there, and that's unfortunate. But my word, the length, the thickness, like, wow. And it's day one for me with this. What was the other one that was like that recently? The little, my Marc Jacobs mini, kind of like that one too from the jump. Okay, I do want to brighten the lower inner rim, as I often do. ABH double-ended. Doesn't that just open things up? That's the extra cup of coffee right there. And you know what? I'm feeling a little adventurous today. I'm gonna try just a little bit of this on the lower lashes. It said smudge resistant, just a little bit. This is a moment where you're saying, did I set all that hydrating stuff that's on my under eyes well enough right now? Because that can be a magnet for your lower lash mascara. For the lips, I'm kind of feeling like maybe more of a nude type lip today. I don't have anything brand spanking new to me, but I have been liking these little buxom mini lip pencils, but jumbo lip pencils. Mini but jumbo. Plump line lip liners, but they're small size. If you get a full size, they have a little brush at the end actually. But I've been liking Hush Hush. Today I'm going to do Incognito, and then I'm thinking about topping it with some White Russian gloss. A little lip exfoliation would have been nice for me before this. The gloss will save our dry, crusty selves. Okay, so my hair, I washed it last night. This is what we get doing nothing to it. So what I want to do to it, if I'm doing just a quick style, I kind of take this front section and I do a little hairspray mist in the front and the back. Take a comb like this and just, you know, give it that texture and that lift. I'm not trying to like give myself super big hair or anything by doing that, but it just sort of helps you manage the shape of the hair if you're going for the straight look. So yeah, this is what we have today, guys. What do we think about the skin and just how that all came together? I still feel like I'm glad with the amount of setting powder I have on there, because I don't feel like it totally masked the glow of my skin, but it did help the texture to the touch, you know? I need to be paying a little better attention to the wear of the Hydromaniac, but like I said, in comparison to IT Cosmetics, it's like a little bit richer formula and a little bit less coverage. I do enjoy this concealer, especially if you're kind of paranoid about too dry looking under eyes. This is a precious little angel. Really surprised by the Bite mascara. I think I got a little better curl on this eye than this eye, but I mean, just with two coats was very satisfying. And the Mink set, absolutely, especially if you didn't get in on minks, or if you did and you just love the heck out of it and you love those kinds of like bronzy tones. I find it to be a very pleasing palette. I love how there's no shade overlap and every color just kind of meshes so nicely up into the next as you blend and work with it. I'm glad that if they're not keeping minks available, they've done something like this that sort of brings it back to life but gives you even more. So thank you guys so much for your time today. I hope you enjoyed this little get ready with me session, and I will see you again very soon in my next video. Bye.